Guys, it's Queen or Set Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Okay, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might need to hear this information. On Sunday, June 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern is our next live discussion. We're going to be talking about pages 11 to 18 in the book Being Me, Loving You by Marshall Rosenberg. Okay? All right, guys, let's get into today's topic. Today's topic is a bit of a heavy one. So if any of you have been in abusive relationships and you're easily triggered, you might want to skip this video because that's what we're going to talk about. A woman gave me a message in my inbox, and she told me she's an Aquarius and her boyfriend is an Aquarius. They've been living together for 6 years. For the past 18 months, they have had fistfights off and on. She's attacked him. He's attacked her. He pushed her down the steps. She stabbed him in his leg with a pair of small scissors. She threw his cell phone out the window. They just going at it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So sometimes it's better than others, she said. Over the past 4 months, they've both been in therapy independently. So they're going to 2 different therapists by themselves. So she said to me that they decided that they want to heal their relationship. They don't want to break up. And she wants me to tell her how can they fix their relationship and not break up. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is this. I don't recommend that. I do not recommend staying in a physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually abusive relationship. I recommend leaving the relationship and going on to do some self-love work and continue your own therapy. That's my recommendation. But because I know this young lady is not going to do that, I'm going to tell you the next best thing. Why don't you both live separately? Stay in a relationship, keep your title, but move maybe to a different apartment, a different city, something. Move, go stay with your mom, something. And work on your relationship from 2 different homes. The reason why I said that is because when you are involved in a violent romantic relationship, they have the tendency to escalate. Okay? If you're already at the point where you've stabbed him, it won't take very much for that to turn deadly. Okay? You're lucky you didn't hit an artery the last time. You're lucky he didn't snap your neck when he pushed you down the steps. You see? So my point to you is that if you're in an abusive relationship, your best thing is to get out of it, to get out of the household, get your own space. Because even if you're going to stay together and work on the relationship, at least you're not in the same home. You got some space. You can breathe a bit. You can work a bit on yourself. You have some room. Okay? And it's less time for there to be violence, quite frankly, because you're not in the same space. You're not in the same physical space, okay? So that's what I recommend. And I recommend that you separate homes. You continue going to therapy every single week by yourself and together. I think you should add a second therapy session every week where you go together. I think you should get a good couples therapist, not either one of your personal therapists. Look around, shop around, and get a good couples therapist. And go to the couples therapy once a week. Go to your personal therapy once a week. And for about a year or 2, live apart and try to work through it like that. That's the best way to do it. Because the way that you're doing it, one of y'all going to end up hurt or dead. And I say that to you not to be dramatic, but because I've seen it. When I was living in Chester, Pennsylvania, and my daughter was little, there was a couple 3 blocks from me that got into an altercation and stabbed each other to death on the front lawn, all over domestic abuse. arguing about whatever they were arguing about. So these things to me are serious. I've seen too many women. I was reading an article the other day about how women are more and more being killed in different places, United States and different countries, being killed by their lovers in a domestic spat or something like that. In your case, you are fighting each other. That makes it that much more deadly. So personally, I would leave the relationship, period. But if you want to work on this relationship, it's not going to be easy. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. If this is something that you want to do and you're willing to do the work, because remember, it's going to be work. So if you're willing to do the work, both of you, and that's, going to therapy, talking a lot, maybe reading books, reading relationship books, couples books, going to workshops. You two need communication skills. I recommend Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, the book that we're doing right now. That's one for couples. But he has a lot of those. You need to learn nonviolent communication. And you need to do this apart. And once you guys have gotten to a space where you're healthy separately, then you can consider if you want to come back together. But you're in a very, very, very serious situation. Also, to be honest with you, I'm questioning if you guys want to work on this because you love each other or if you want to work on it because you're codependent on each other. Codependency, attachment, obsession, infatuation, and control often are mistaken for love. So I'm really questioning where that dynamic is, because when you said we want to stay together and heal this, the first thing that came to my mind was, are you trying to heal this or are you just trying to hold on to each other? So if you come apart and live in two different places, those kind of answers will come to the surface. If you go to couples therapy, those kind of answers will come to the surface. Everything will come to the surface if you work on it long enough. Okay? So that's the best I can offer you if you want to be able to heal. Usually, if a relationship is that toxic, that dysfunctional, and that violent, the smartest thing to do is to walk away from it. You've been fighting consistently for 18 months, off and on for 18 months. A lot of resentment has built up, you see. So me personally, that's why I said in the very beginning, I wouldn't do it. I would get out. I would go see a domestic abuse counselor, and I would find a way to work with them because they help you make a plan. So I would work with them to make a plan. When I was a young girl, when I was with my daughter's father, we had several altercations and the cops came several times. The last time the cop came, he told me, I've seen young girls like you many times not make it. That's all I needed to hear. It's all I needed to hear. The next day, I had a restraining order and we were separated. And I never lived with him again. We did try to work it out. We tried. But I never lived with him again, and it wasn't possible. Some people, it may be possible to work it out. But you have to put some distance between the two of you before something happens that you both regret. Okay? Be very careful and remember what I said. All right? I hope that helps you. I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for your question. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to talk to me, or if you would like to get a reading, if you have a question for Asking Aquarius, if you want to send me a love donation, if you want to do any of those things, all of my information is underneath this video, okay? Also, if you would like to become one of my patrons, my Patreon information is underneath this video as well. All right, guys, see you later.